Reverend, can you lead us in the prayer, please? Thank you.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, the port that works seems to be much in the news these days. It appears on the calendar of vice presidents and brings U.S. energy secretaries to our door. We seem to have become a major magnet of opportunity for energy and industrial production, and so much more. These 40,000 acres that lay quietly along the Gulf shore for years have now been noticed by those ready to turn insignificance into opportunity to serve this region and nation. It is at times like this that we don't want to run ahead of ourselves, nor be bound by the sum of our fears and limitations. We therefore remember the words of the psalmist who leads us to view our opportunities from a higher perspective. He says, "Now therefore, O kings, show discernment, take warning, O judges of the earth, worship the Lord with reverence and rejoice with trembling." At times of great opportunity, we pray for discernment, that we may recognize warnings in order to discover better solutions. In worship, we remember our place, and from humility flows the grace to overcome every obstacle, so that in the great scheme of things, all things would work together for the good of those who love you and are called according to your purpose. For that which you call into being, you also form and shape to serve your purpose. May all that we do here tonight and in the future be established by the wisdom that flows from the reverence that honors you and invites your blessing to be upon our homes, our region, and our nation. This we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. We all join me in our Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, everyone.
Good evening, Chairman, Commission. We have numerous public comments tonight, sir.
Okay.
Number one will be Dr. Christopher Basaldua. Agenda item to be addressed is going to be 9, 7, 8, and 9 and 6. That'll be the first one.
Thank you. And for the record, it's August the 5th, 2026. I forgot about that. Go ahead, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Christopher Basaldu. I stand to speak against anything that has to do with the America First refinery. It'll be an environmental disaster. It'll be very destructive and poisonous for our air, our water, and the land. This is a project that's being shoved down our throats, and many people in the community oppose it because we know of the future of higher cancer rates that it'll bring here. We ask this commission to please cancel this project. Do not advance it. Do not advance it forward. It is combined. This commission has not considered the cumulative impact of all the projects you are aggressively trying to bring to the Port of Brownsville, and how aggressively this commission is trying to create of our beautiful home a sacrifice zone, one that will not benefit the common people here in the Brownsville area or in Cameron County, but simply line the pockets of private companies and probably line your pockets as well. This is not fair, and this is going to increase health risks in an area where we already live in a healthcare desert where most people don't have access to healthcare. So oppose America First Refinery and oppose these amendments. Tell them they have to start over with an environmental impact statement, because what you had previously with Project Jupiter in the past, that's obsolete, that information, and they shouldn't be able to continue and coast on what had already been prior approved with Project Jupiter. They need to start over, and we need to have our communities be safe. Now, as for Saronic Technologies, that's another project that is going to be very damaging. It's going to destroy wildlife habitat. It will also destroy archaeological and human remains of the original native people of the land. And that project is going to make Brownsville and the whole port of Brownsville will become a military target, because these are private military. This is a weapons manufacturer. Immediately, that's a military target. Everything you've ever worked for could potentially be destroyed and catastrophically harm all the people of this area. You need to stop Saronic, cancel that project, cancel Ouroboros Land Enterprises or whatever name it's under. And we also ask you to not advance anymore the America First refinery. There's nothing to be gained. There's only everything to lose for the people and the environment here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman, next will be Valeria Caballero.
Thank you, Chief.
Good afternoon. My name is Josette Cruz Hinojosa, a former candidate for the Port of Brownsville Commission, and I'm here on behalf of the community and the rest of humanity to oppose the excuse me, it's been relabeled so many times, the American First Refinery. The people of this community don't need to continue being sold off as cheap labor without safeguards to these corporations who are nothing but greedy, money hungry, antiquated, outdated systems that are no longer functioning. And in fact, the port continues. The so-called men with vision here continue to lack the vision needed to transition into other industries that the rest of the world is currently utilizing. As many, engineers that we have out here, we can train them to do other things like they do in other parts of the world. So there really have been no environmental impact studies, as Dr. Christopher has stated. So I'm asking you to stand with the correct side of humanity and the rest of the world, the rest of the modernized world, because let's face it, oil and gas is an antiquated system. It is failing. And this is the reason why there's such a stronghold right now and pressure for you all to continue to be complicit and corrupt with what is going on in this nation. So you have to sit there, men with vision, and envision something better. Dream something better for this community, because what you're doing is destroying the future of this community, okay? Not just, I know y'all are on your way out, but we have children here who suffer with high rates of asthma, okay? And this is going to completely push us off the edge for all of the people who are here, who have diabetes, who have heart problems, heart conditions. You can go and look and see all of the information that's there and available to you that's done by scientists. I mean, everything is there. Everything that you all need to convince yourselves and to understand that this is a wrong thing for y'all to be part of and complicit in. Y'all should really stop and think about everyone else, all the scientists, everyone else who's been out here. I'm here because I care. Are you there because you care? Or is it because you want to line your pockets? You have to ask yourself that. And you're going to have to sit there and live with those decisions. Okay? So again, I'm asking you to stand on the correct side of humanity and history and say no to this project. And I know that we have a rep from Saronics here, and I just overheard them say, I'm the only one here. Oh, don't worry, we got you. So just for the record, for public record, so that's known, okay? But I'm asking you all, on behalf of my community, on behalf of the children of this community, the disabled community who are already vulnerable as it is, to say no. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Josette.
All right, Chairman. Yeah, we announced that it was going to be Valeria Caballero, but I think that was Ms. Hinojosa. So now we have the final one, which will be Rebecca Hinojosa.
I think
Or is there a Valeria Caballero? Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Valeria Caballero. I live in Brownsville, and I'm here with the South Texas Environmental Justice Network. I'm here to urge all of you to vote against any sort of lease amendment, any sort of thing that would help America First Refinery establish themselves here. At this point, it is absolutely ridiculous to even consider facilitating a fossil fuel project anywhere in the world, let alone here in my hometown. Our wildfires, our hurricanes, and winter storms, extreme heat seasons have all been exacerbated by climate change and by harmful industries that are making it worse. There has not been a new oil refinery in this country for over 50 years. There's fossil fuel projects, but a new oil refinery is wildly irresponsible. For about a half decade, this refinery has been failing to move forward and has undergone different unsuccessful iterations, only to be given momentum by the current fascist in chief. On top of the absolute health and environmental disaster that this refinery would pose in our hometown, this project would require the construction of hundreds of miles of pipelines to Brownsville for the shale oil fields in the Permian Basin in West Texas and beyond. This is such clear environmental racism. Our community is primarily low income and Hispanic, and we have been harmed by other dirty, toxic industries here for decades. We are also in a drought. The water demand for this kind of industry would be insanely high, and I don't want us to face the same water scarcity that Corpus Christi is facing right now because of harmful industries that decide our lives and our resources are worth exploiting. Corpus Christi would not be struggling to meet their water consumption needs if it weren't for the greedy water-guzzling industry giants consuming half of the available water in the area. In addition to the natural resource, health, and environmental risk, this oil refinery poses explosion risk with SpaceX launch pad and the LNG facility within a few miles from the proposed refinery. This would also hurt the livelihood of local shrimpers, spew toxic pollutants into our air, and place massive strain on our water supply. I can't imagine sitting where you are right now and even considering allowing something that I know will line the pockets of greedy, already privileged few. Fossil fuels needed to be phased out yesterday. The Port of Brownsville should be looking for renewable energy solutions. The climate crisis is already here. It's already killing thousands of people, and it will kill millions more. I know some of you are proud of what seems to be an investment in our community. A few hundred jobs that this refinery might bring is not worth the harm that these air pollutants will cause. They are cancer-causing pollutants. This isn't a company gracing us with economic development. This is the fossil fuel industry expanding their sacrifice zone. They have decided that we don't deserve clean air and abundant green spaces. Refineries aren't built in affluent communities for a reason. I want a livable future here. Please do not allow this mess to happen. Vote no on any sort of action that would enable this oil refinery to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Caballero.
Okay, Chairman, the last one would be Rebecca Hinojosa.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Hinojosa with the South Texas Environmental Justice Network. We're a local environmental organization here in Brownsville. I'm here to ask you to vote against any lease agreement, a vote against the America First oil refinery project. There is tremendous local opposition to this oil refinery project. Community members have made it clear that they do not want this project to move forward because it will damage our air, our water, and our environment. You all have been calling this oil refinery a clean refinery. That is ludicrous. There's no such thing as a clean oil refinery. It will release toxic pollution. It will also demand a tremendous amount of water. We are in a severe drought, and a desalination plant is not a solution, okay? A desal plant would use a tremendous amount of electricity from our grid. We do not have a stable grid. We do not have enough electricity for a desal plant. It will also release toxic brine. Storing the brine is not a good process. We do not need a desal plant, and we do not need an oil refinery. This refinery is also clearly a scam. It's Trump's scam project. This refinery has gone by, I think this is the fourth name now. It's rebranded 4 times because it is clearly a failing project that has struggled to find investors. You all supporting this project is a terrible idea. It would mean supporting a scam business proposal. This project was previously called Jupiter, then it rebranded because it was failing to ARX Energy, then it rebranded to Element Fuels, and now it's pretending to be something called America First Refinery. If you all support this facility, it means you are supporting a scam project. I just want to reiterate that. We will do everything we can as a community to prevent this project from moving forward because we care about a clean, healthy future, and you all should as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hinojosa.
Item number 3, director's reports.
Gentlemen, do you have any questions for the directors? We're good, Chief.
Item number 4, monthly operations summary report.
Thank you, Mr. Teacher. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Today I'm going to be reporting on the operations summary for the month of May 2026. On our first slide here, for May, our vessel and cargo revenues came in at $2,089,434. Total operating revenues, including rentals and easements, were $4,276,408. After operating expenses and other non-operating items, our net income came in at $1,665,959. Our year-to-date operating revenues total $20,011,377, and our year-to-date net income totals $14,300,416. The current operating results increased the port's ending net position to $404,736,423. On our next slide, we can see the financial highlights for the month of May. Again, total lease rental and pipeline easement revenues at $1,684,120 represented 39% of the month of May's operating revenues. And those revenues are comprised of the revenues from the turning basin, $1,400,707, from the fishing harbor, $55,388, and then from pipelines and easements, $228,025. Total vessel calls for the month of May were 74 compared to 135 in May of 2025. Our total vessel and cargo service revenues at $2,089,434 represent 49% of the month's operating revenues. And those major fees are broken down by wharfage, $705,793, dockage, $521,583, crane fees of $298,263, the security surcharges of $163,609, and harbor fees of $38,434. Other operating revenues totaling $502,854 represent 12% of the month's operating revenues, and the major sources of those other operating revenues are derived from storage agreements, $132,000, from franchise revenues, $228,099, and from port entry permits, $16,273. The next slide is just a summary of the year-to-date revenues for 2026 and includes a short analysis. We can see again, total operating revenues are up over the prior year by 3% and 4% above budgeted forecasts. The vessel service revenues are up over prior year by 13% and 9% over budget. Other operating revenues are down by 9% compared to the prior year and 7% below budget. Lease rental revenues are down 5% compared to prior year, but they are 3% above budget. And lastly, the pipeline and easement revenues are up by 39% compared to prior year and 13% above budget. On our next slide, again, just the total annual revenues compared to the total budget for the year. Again, if we spread that out across the 12 months through May, we would expect to be at about 42%. We can see here that we're on target with most of these categories, except for a little bit there on the other operating revenues. But we can see vessel and cargo service revenues through May are at 45% compared to the total budget. Other operating revenues are at 39%. The vessel and lease rental, the lease rental revenues are at 43%. Pipeline and easement revenues are at 47%. And then in total, through May, we're at 44%. On our next slide, the breakdown of our year-to-date revenues by the individual categories. We can see here that for vessel and cargo services, dockage at $2,194,008 represents 25% of that category. Wharfage in and out combined at $2,992,477 represents 35%. Barge and vessel harbor fees combined at $191,190 represent 3%. The combined security surcharges at $725,173 represent 8%. And then lastly, the mobile harbor crane revenues at $1,227,200 represent 14% of this category. The next breakdown is the breakdown of the other operating revenues. We can see here that the largest component being the franchise and car movement revenues, which combine at 1,068,473, represent 39% of this category. The other significant sources of other operating revenues are generated from the storage agreements, which combined total 788,000 and represent 28% of the category. On the next slide, this is the breakdown of the lease rental revenues. We can see here that 286,562, or 4% of the approximately 7.4 million in lease rental revenues, are derived from fishing harbor leases, and then 7,187,781, or 96% of it, are derived from the turning basin leases. This slide, representing the pipeline and easement revenues breakdown, we can see here that 551,747, or 54% of this category, is derived from easements, and 465,702, or 46%, are derived from the pipeline throughput. Lastly, our waterborne cargo statistics. We can see here that for the month of May, waterborne cargo totaled 708,157 metric tons, and year to date through May, the total waterborne cargo is at 3,460,697 metric tons. And commissioners, that concludes my presentation for the month of May. If there's any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chan. Good job. Good.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Zeus. Consent agenda items. Item number 5, consideration action on the following consent agenda items. A, approval of minutes of regular board meeting July 15th, 2026. B, approval of authorized payments over $25,000. 1, diverse construction, Texas A&M lift station project, $144,000. 2, Russell Marine LLC, Cargo Dock 3, Phase 1 and 3, demolition and construction project, $397,575.
So moved,
I have
Mr.
a
Chair.
motion by Commissioner Reed and a second by Commissioner Gutierrez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Action items, consideration action authorizing memorandum of understanding between Brownsville Navigation District, American Electric Power, and the Metals Company. Essentially, commissioners, at this point, Metals Company's wanting to do a power study, see what the long-term power needs are going to be for that location. And to do so, they need to do it through the port since they do not have tenure or lease on the property. So essentially that we would end up paying a fee and we would be reimbursed by the Metals Company for this study.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Reed and a second by Commissioner Gutierrez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Consideration action, acknowledge receipt of certified appraisal roll and property tax calculations for district's 2026 tax levy. Mr. Yanez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and commissioners, this is going to be the first of 2 property tax related agenda items at tonight's board meeting. In this first item, I'm submitting to the board the 2026 certified appraisal roll received by the Cameron County Appraisal District for properties within the district's jurisdiction for acknowledgement by the board. I'm also submitting the calculations for the 2026 property tax rates also for acknowledgement by the board. On this first slide, commissioners, I just want to start by presenting a recap of the tax rate adoption process, including the truth in taxation concept that's embodied within the Texas Constitution. Truth in taxation is a concept that requires local taxing units to make taxpayers aware of tax rate proposals and to afford taxpayers the opportunity to limit tax increases. So in essence, it gives property owners the right to know about increases in their property's appraised value and to be notified of the estimated taxes that could result from the new values. The truth in taxation process can be summarized in 4 primary steps, those being right there, the calculating the required rates, publishing the notices, holding a public hearing if required, and finally adopting the tax rate. On our next slide, just going into a little bit more detail of the process, calculating the tax rate here. So once we received the certified appraisal rolls from the appraisal district on July 2nd, 2026, and that's what kicks off the process. The certified appraisal rolls include the approved market value, approved net taxable value, as well as the value of properties that are still under review by the appraisal review board, and a breakdown of all the applicable deductions and exemptions, among other things. The tax rate calculation worksheet enables us to calculate the no new revenue and the voter approval tax rate. And what are those? The no new revenue tax rate is a rate that generates approximately the same amount of tax revenues as last year based on the 2026 valuations of the same property that was taxed in 2025. While the voter approval tax rate is a maximum rate that the district can adopt without an election, the voter approval tax rate equals the no new revenue maintenance and operations rate increased by 3.5%, plus the unused increment rate and a debt rate if applicable, as allowable by the tax code. On our next slide, going into the process of publishing the required notices, the tax code does require taxing entities to publish the calculated no new revenue and voter approval tax rate. Those would be published in our local newspaper as well as on our website. On the next slide, the holding of a public hearing. Taxing entities would have to hold a public hearing if the proposed ad valorem tax rate exceeds the lower of the no new revenue tax rate or the voter approval tax rate. And then the last step in the process would be actually adopting a tax rate. And for this year, the annual tax rate, or as always, the annual tax rate must be adopted by a resolution and submitted to the tax office. But for this year, has to be submitted by September 11th to be included in the combined October tax statements. On our next slide, I just want to provide a little bit of some highlights from the certified appraisal roll that was received. For 2026, the district certified market valuation and the certified taxable value were $24,505,250,030 and $19,360,444,753 respectively. That represents an increase of 9.2% and 10.2% respectively over the prior year valuations. The current year certified taxable values include $1,500,340,729 of new property and improvements. These figures obviously indicate the continued growth in appraised values of existing property and improvements and substantial capital investments that have been made within the district's taxing jurisdiction. There are still, as of the July 22nd, 2026 certified appraisal roll, there's still 106 properties that are pending ARB protests. That's compared to 52 in 2025. And for those properties that are still under ARB review, the lower the appraised value or the value claimed by the taxpayer is used for the purposes of calculating the 2026 tax rates. As those protests are settled, the values are amended through supplemental reports issued by the appraisal district. On our next slide, this is the summary of those calculated tax rates, and there's a worksheet that's approved and issued by the Texas Comptroller, which we use to generate that based on the information that is provided. We can see here on this slide for 2026, the calculated no new revenue tax rate is 0.033795 per $100 valuation. And then the voter approval tax rate for 2026 is 0.038175 per $100 in valuation. And that consists of the 0.035063 maintenance and operations no new revenue rate increased by that 3.5% and adjusted for the unused increment rate as allowed by the tax code. Of note, we can see here that the district's calculated voter approval rate does not include a debt service rate component. That is no longer necessary. We have eliminated and paid off all the tax supported debt that was outstanding. This was back in 2023, so we haven't had a tax rate since then. The next slide, Commissioner, is that for this particular agenda item, that concludes my presentation. The recommendation for this agenda item is for the board to acknowledge receipt of the certified appraisal roll and the property tax rate calculations for the district's 2026 property tax levy. Or if there's any questions, that also be.
I have a motion by Commissioner Garcia just to receive and acknowledge.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Reed. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
Item number 8, consideration action to discuss a vote on 2026 proposed tax rate for the Brownsville Navigation District.
Commissioners, this is that second agenda item related to the property tax items. And under this item, the board will be considering and voting on a proposed tax rate for the 2026 tax year to be approved at a subsequent meeting. I know there's always the board has always expressed interest in setting a rate that reflects the district's awareness of how the tax rates impact homeowners. And to that end, I did include a worksheet there to assist the discussions regarding the effect of the calculated tax rate on homeowners. That worksheet demonstrates the effect based on the effect of the calculated tax rates per $100 valuation, as well as per the average value of homes that are provided by the appraisal district. It also includes the estimated tax levy and estimated allocation of the annual tax levy to the transportation reinvestment zone. On our next slide, just a recap of the calculated no new revenue rate, the calculated voter approval rate, as well as a comparison to last year's adopted rate. We can see here, again, that calculated no new revenue rate for 2026 is 0.033795 per $100 of valuation. And then the voter approval tax rate for 2026 is 0.038175 per $100 valuation. And that compared to the 2025 tax rate of 0.025589, the no new revenue rate represents an increase of 0.008206, and the voter approval tax rate represents an increase of 0.012586. On our next slide, this slide presents an analysis of how the calculated rates impact homeowners per $100 of property valuation, as well as the average home value compared to the prior year's adopted tax rate. Commissioners, overall, the average taxable home value increased by $13,393 or 8.8% over the previous year. We can see there under the current or the 2025 tax rate of 0.025589, the tax per $100 of valuation is $25.59. Under the no new revenue rate, the taxes per $100 of valuation would be $33.80. And then under the voter approval tax rate per $100 valuation, the taxes would be $38.18. You can see the increase under the no new revenue rate would represent $8.21 compared to the $25.59 under prior year's adopted adopted tax rate. And the voter approval tax rate reflects a 12.59 cent increase. Per the average value of the homes under the previous adopted tax rate, the taxes per the average value would be $42.33. Under the no new revenue rate, it would be $55.91. And under the voter approval tax rate, it would be $63.15. On our next slide, this is a slide that presents an analysis of the estimated property tax levy based on the current year certified appraised value of $19,360,444,753. The estimated tax levy based on the 2025 rate would be $4,954,144. Under the calculated no new revenue rate, it would be $6,542,862. And under the calculated voter approval rate, that tax levy is estimated to be $7,390,850. For reference, last year's tax levy was $4,506,836. We also, as I mentioned, we also have a transportation reinvestment zone. As always, a portion of that of each year's levy is allocated to the transportation reinvestment zone to be used in capital projects based on the voter approval rate and this year's taxable value of $16,030,764,231, which is the captured value within that tax increment zone, and that gets compared to the base value when the zone was established back in 2013, which was $6,251,410,971. That represents a captured value of $9,779,353,260, and would result in an allocation to the that would get multiplied by the rate that is established, and that's the portion that would get allocated to the TERS. On our next slide, so commissioners, lastly, the board has the option of accepting staff's recommendation or may propose an alternative rate. The rate that staff is proposing, the recommended rate that staff is proposing, is equal to that voter approval tax rate, which would be the highest that the board could adopt without having to go into a mandatory election. That rate is at 0.038175. And again, any rate that exceeds the lower of the no new revenue rate or the voter approval tax rate, in this case for this year being that no new revenue rate, would require a public hearing. So if there's any questions, commissioners, before
You
we...
and I have been talking a lot about this lately.
Yes, sir.
So just so make sure I'm clear and the rest of the commissioners are clear. No matter what tax rate we have to approve a tax rate tonight by law.
To publish a...
To publish.
Yes, sir. Yes.
But no matter what we publish, we can come back at the other meeting and increase it or decrease it if the commission desires, correct?
You can, what you're doing tonight is you're proposing a rate that
Right.
was on the newspaper.
That's all.
Correct.
Yeah.
You cannot go higher.
Then the proposal.
In the
what-
proposal, but you can
You can
decrease
go
it.
lower.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And if, I know you've given me some information, I know Commissioner Villarreal's been involved in this as well. If we decided as a commission that we wanted to eliminate residential taxes, that wouldn't take effect till 2027, correct?
Correct. So yeah, it would be for the following year's
Even if
tax
we
rate.
said today or next month that we wanted to do it, it wouldn't take effect for a following year.
That is correct, sir.
But we can vote next meeting if we choose to on the two that we're allowed to based on this email you sent or this memorandum, which is we can exempt property owners that are 65 and over or who qualify as disabled, correct? And the other has to do with the general residential homestead exemption. We have the power to do that.
Yes, sir. That is a local option that the board has. Mhm.
Just wanted to make sure we were all clear on that, and I was as well.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Sis.
Yes, sir.
I'll move to accept the recommendation.
A motion by Commissioner Garcia to accept the recommendation.
This would, no, I'm sorry. Just it would requires a roll call vote.
Roll call,
Yes.
We'll have a motion, a second.
And
Yeah.
yes, sir.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Garcia.
Again, if there's an alternative rate that we want to propose, or I mean, if we want to,
Propose
Come-
the existing
back.
rate, and we can always
Change it.
change it,
Second.
which
Oh.
is 0.025
Oh, it's a roll call.
589, right?
Open use test.
So we have
It has to
yeah,
make
so I have a motion by Commissioner
Second.
Reed.
Commissioner Garcia's motion
That-
died for lack of a second. Commissioner Reed is proposing the no new
1.25.
revenue rate. Is that correct? Or the
No,
existing rate?
The existing rate.
The existing.
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 Seconded, and I need a roll call.
Yes.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
thank you, Commissioner. And that would so just in summary, with the with that particular proposed rate, that would not require, since it does not exceed the lower of the no new revenue rate or the voter approval rate, it does not require a public hearing. We would just need to go ahead and also put in just do the tax notices that are required, and then we can move forward with a.
Okay, so that's passed, correct?
Yes,
So, Counselor, at the next meeting, if the commission decides they want to have these exemptions, that would be, we would approve the tax rate, whatever it may be, and then we would go
There would be a separate.
separate item for that. Okay. Thank you. Sis, you did a great job.
I appreciate that.
I know I was bugging you a lot. I appreciate you.
No, it's a lot to take in. I know it's an important subject there. So, but I appreciate all the everybody's concerns and inquiries on all this. So, thank you all.
Thank you,
so
Mr.
much.
Yes,
Thank you, Sus.
Thank you, Zeus. Item number 9, consideration action on assignments, negotiations, easements, subleases, and contracts in general. One will be Antojitos Freddy, has been operating in sublease under International Longshoremen Association BND Contract 3948. The lease with the International Longshoremen Association has been month to month since 2022, pending submission of approval of a new lease. What they're wanting to do is they're wanting to take over that lease, so to ensure continued operation, Antojitos Freddy is seeking authorization to negotiate lease for the property. The premises that consist of 0.3 acres located at 8150 Old Highway 48, where the current Antojito Freddy's will continue to operate as a restaurant. Fiscal implication, lease will be $5,286 a year. Staff recommends approval of authority to negotiate for Antojitos Freddy.
Motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Gutierrez,
Second.
second by Commissioner Villarreal. All those in favor?
Aye.
Shallow Stalker Boats LLC, authority to negotiate lease with Shallow Stalker Boats LLC under BND Contract 4107, expired on June 30th, 2026, with no additional renewal options. Shallow Seeker Boats LLC is seeking authorization to negotiate new lease for approximately 1.768 acres located at 2780 Anglers Road, Place Road, and 2775 Anglers Place Road. Pros used for maritime correction for marine manufacturing and repair. Annual lease will be $287.21. And staff recommends B&D approve authority to negotiate for Shallow Stalker Boats LLC.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Reed.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gutierrez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Adriana Cova Incorporated. Adriana Cova Corp. has entered in a lease agreement contract 4791 with District on August 1st, 2025 for initial term 1 year. The lease provides the leasee and the district may agree to extend the agreement for up to 4 additional 1-year terms, provided that the leasee is not in default and obtains board's approval. Current lease expired July 1st, 2026. Leasee is seeking board's approval to exercise the first of 1 year renewal options for the period of August 1st, 2026 to July 31st, 2027. Staff confirms the lease is not in default under any provisions of this agreement. Annual lease $7,194. Staff recommends B&D Commission approve renewal lease for Adriana Cova.
Motion by Commissioner Villarreal.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gutierrez. All those in favor?
Aye.
EJ Trawlers Incorporated, renewal of lease. EJ Trawlers Incorporated entered a lease agreement contract number 4785 with District on July 1st, 2025 for initial term of 1 year. The lease provides that the leasee and District may agree to extend agreement for 4 additional years. This is going to be pretty much the same as the other
Yes,
one.
correct. Mhm.
And they're wanting to take advantage of the first option of 4. Purpose of the lease is shrimp operations, specifically unloading boat tie-up shrimp, seafood vessels, and should not be permitted to conduct boat repair maintenance operation for boats owned by third parties. Annual lease is $7,299. Staff recommends B&D Commissioner approve renewal lease for EJ Trawlers Incorporated, contract number 4785.
I have a motion by Commissioner Garcia.
Second.
So moved.
Second by Commissioner Gutierrez. All those in favor?
Aye.
U.S. Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Coast Guard lease amendment. September 2019 board approved lease with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Coast Guard contract number 4416 for the placement and operation of government navigation aids, specifically range lights located throughout the channel. The proposed amendment extends the lease term from September 1st, 2026 through August 31st, 2027, with an annual renewal option through September 30th of 2030. There's no fiscal implications. Staff recommends B&D Commission approve lease for U.S. Department of Homeland Security and U.S. Coast Guard.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia. Second by Commissioner Villarreal. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you to the Coast Guard.
Ouroboros Land Enterprises LLC. Ouroboros Land Energy LLC, contract number 4702, entered into optional lease with the district February 7th, 2024 for initial 1-year term with the option to renew up to 2 additional years. Since execution of the agreement, Ouroboros has exercised both renewal options, continuing the option agreement through February 6, 2027 to date. Ouroboros has paid district total of $902,785.58 in option fee pursuant to this agreement. Ouroboros is seeking board's approval to extend the option agreement for an additional 6 months through August 7th, 2027. Staff recommends BND Commissioners approve 6-month extension for Ouroboros Land Enterprises LLC.
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Reed and a second by Commissioner Gutierrez. All those in favor?
Aye.
American First Refinery, American First Refining Holdings LLC, formerly known as Element Fuels LLC, previously ARX LLC, currently leases 241.24 acres. BND contract 4612 and has been amended, and has proposed project has developed, which includes crude oil refinery designed to process 100% American shale oil. American First Refinery has indicated it's no longer needed to 7.66 acres from the lease resident, but needs approximately 51.143 acres to be added to the lease agreement. If you can look up there on the map, folks, essentially what we refer to as the gun barrel will be returned back to us, and the culmination of the new property around the original track on the left on the 192 acres and the 51.143 acres will be added to the lease. Staff recommends B&D Commissioners approve Second Amendment to lease to American First Refining Holdings LLC.
So moved.
Second.
So before we get to Ms. Janey, there's an easement there. Who's gonna? Huh? Okay. Okay. So I have a motion by Commissioner Reed and a second by Commissioner Garcia. Is that correct, Commissioners? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 8, American First Refining Holdings LLC, leaser agreement, subordination agreement, and leaser's consent to leasehold deed of trust memorandum of lease. American First Refining Holdings LLC, formerly known as Element Fuels Processing, through their lenders council, is seeking approval of several agreements related to its financing, including a lesser agreement, subordination agreement, and leasehold deed of trust and memorandum of lease as AFR continues to develop their refinery and related assets at the port. They have entered into a credit facility loan agreement up to $60 million with Standard Chartered Bank. As part of the finance, AFR's lender, Standard Chartered Bank, has requested the district enter into a lesser agreement, and subordination agreement. Additionally, in support of financing, the lender has requested confirmation the lease remains in full force and effect, and AFR is not in default. B&D staff has reviewed AFR, formerly known as Element Fuels, lease and confirms compliance with the lease, including fulfillment of insurance requirements for lease premises. B&D legal counsel, in collaboration with AFR's legal counsel, has reviewed documents and concurred that they are ready for consideration and action by B&D commissioners. No fiscal implications. Staff recommends B&D commissioners approve lesser agreement and related documents for American First Refining Holding LLC as prescribed, as presented.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Reed and a second by Commissioner Gutierrez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bids, agreements, and purchases. Consideration action authorize staff to solicit proposal for district's external audit services for fiscal years 2026, 2028. The district annually engages in certified public accounting firm to perform district's required annual financing and compliance audits. An annual audit of the retirement plan for employees of the Brownsville Navigation District is also required and performed as a separate engagement. Fiscal year 2025 was the third year of the current contract with Carr Riggs and Ingram LLC. Staff is requesting authorization to solicit proposal for district's external audit services for fiscal years ending in December 31st, 2026 through December 31st, 2028.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Garcia and a second by Commissioner Reed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 11, consideration action to adopt a resolution to ratify submittal of application for financial assistance under the Texas Water Development Board Water Supply and Infrastructure Grant Program. B&D staff has been working with submission of an application to request financial assistance from Texas Water Development Board for the construction of an elevated water storage tank on the south side of Brownsville Chip Channel. The Water Supply and Infrastructure Grant, WSIG, application submittal deadline was July 30th, 2026. BND staff hereby requesting ratification of the application with WSIG. Documents comply with the grant's eligibility requirements. We're essentially applying for a $10 million grant. There will be no match on our part to engineer and construct the water tower on the south side.
I just have one quick. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just have one question for Mr. Martinez. I apologize. Mr. Martinez, have you made some kind of assessment of how much it would cost us to build that?
We will try to adapt the grant we get to the project that we will be building.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry. The size of the tank will be adapted to be able to pay for what we get
With the fund. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't want you to build a $20 million dollar tank and then we got to pay the 10 or so.
No.
Would it be at the same location where the one?
No. We wanna demolish that and use it as patio, and we will find another place. We haven't selected a site for that project.
Thank you.
And I have two questions. One, how big a tank are you looking to build?
Hopefully something similar to what we have.
How many?
Something similar to what we have right now.
But how many gallons?
1 million gallons. That's what we have.
I've been involved in 2 water tanks, one at this board and one on another board,
Probably.
and none of them go to plan. And so you say you're going to try to adapt, which is great. I'm just telling you, chances are we're going to be putting money into it. And so my question is, if let's say it turns out to be $15 million, can we still receive the 10 million?
Yes.
Okay. So
We will get the grant, and then we will bid it out. And until then, we will know how much we will be.
We would have to pay the difference.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
okay.
as long as you keep it within range.
Yes. Of course.
Yeah. But they're disasters, and you're going to have a lot of fun if we end up doing it.
Yes. Any other questions?
For current demand, would million be?
It's exactly the same as the one on the north side.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you.
Martinez showed me the application. The Water Development Board requires a roll call vote.
Okay.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Chief.
Item number 12, consideration action authorize port staff to proceed with the purchase of a vacuum truck for the continued work required for Port of Brownsville pursuant to Sourcewell Co-op contract number 032824-KTC. It's going to be item number 12. Staff is requesting Board of Commissioners authorize the purchase of vacuum truck for the continued work required for the Port of Brownsville. Staff has requested and received quotes from multiple vendors, which were analyzed and compared by staff. Vendor French Ellison, Sourcewell Co-op contract 32824 KTC submitted quote for a total price of $560,918 with a time of delivery of approximately 180 days. Staff recommends French Ellison over other vendors based on overall value, warranty coverages, and operational suitability. Proposal includes 5-year, 200,000-mile extended warranty on an engine and after-treatment system, along with a 1 year of unlimited mileage towing coverage for manufacturer warranty covered mechanical failures. Transmission is covered by 5-year warranty. Additionally, I think it says 1 speed, but I'm sure it's more than that. We're cut off here. 10 speed. Okay, 10 speed manual transportation is at 1 speed. Yeah, I was like, man,
He'd be there all day,
be there all day.
trying to get out of the garage.
Yeah. It'd be like, I no wonder they want it at 1 speed, right? Speed manual transfer well suited for ports operation condition heavy duty applications. BND fiscal year budget 2026 has allocated funds for this project. Staff is recommending BND Board Commissioner authorize staff to proceed purchase a vacuum truck from vendor French Ellison Sourcewell Cooperative Contract 032824-KTC. Quoted price of $560,918.64.
I have a motion by Commissioner Villarreal. Second by Commissioner Reed. All those in favor?
The only question I have, how much time will it take to be delivered?
180 days.
180 days.
Yeah. It might be less, Commissioner, because they're not building that many trucks right now, so we might get it before that.
Item number 13, consideration action to approve purchase of 4,000 tons of limestone under contract number 4639C. BND staff, BND was requesting Board of Commissioners approved and authorize the staff to proceed with the purchase of 4,000 tons of limestone from vendor Vulcan Materials at $38 per ton for a total of $152,000 under contract number 4639C. Limestone is necessary to complete the various maintenance projects throughout the Ford and for stock. If approved, additional funds will be allocated in the have been allocated in fiscal year 2026 operating budget for the purchase of this material. BND recommends BND Commissioner approve, authorize staff to proceed, purchase of 4,000 tons of limestone from Vulcan Materials, total cost $152,000.
What's this gonna be used for?
Yeah, mostly for the patios, and any other areas where we have low areas. You know, I must take this opportunity to commend our maintenance department. We're not buying as much limestone as we were before because our maintenance department is doing an outstanding job on keeping up with the patios before they actually get to the point to where the holes and everything get to a point where we cannot manage. They've been doing a great job. So I think this is the first time we've ordered limestone, I would say in about a year, Santos, over.
This will last for how long?
How long do you think, Santos? 6 months, 8 months. And our previous limestone purchases were a lot larger. So, well, we were also doing some construction work, but they've been doing an outstanding job and using what we have out there and moving it around and keeping the patios in very good shape.
Thank you. Motion?
A motion by Commissioner Gutierrez, second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to go into executive session? I have a motion by Commissioner Villarreal and a second by Commissioner Gutierrez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. By Commissioner Gutierrez and a second by Commissioner Reed.
Yes, item 14A, discussion with attorney regarding contemplated litigation related to BRG Railroad.
I'll make a motion to authorize general counsel to engage Colvin Sines, Rodriguez, and Kenmar as outside counsel in litigation with the Brownsville-Rio Grande International Railway.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia,
Second.
second by Commissioner Reed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number B, discussion with attorney regarding potential acquisition of real property and deliberations regarding the purchase, sale, lease, or value of approximately 34.44 acres, more or less described as Cameron County Appraisal Property ID number 118626, and approximately 32.3 acres, more or less described in State Abstract 275, Survey 702A, under code 5501071 and 55072.
I give it to you.
I need to read the whole thing again? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should just have you repeat it.
Yeah.
Motion to authorize Port Director and CEO and General Counsel to negotiate the acquisition of real property interest in approximately 34.44 acres described as Cameron County Appraisal Property ID 118626, and request a patent from the GLO on approximately 32.23 acres or a portion thereof as described in State Abstract 275, Survey 702A.
I have a motion by Commissioner Reed and a second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
I got a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
A motion by Commissioner Gutierrez, second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you,
Thank you.
Commission.
Yes, sir.